The late afternoon sun slanted through the lace curtains of the Whitmore family's living room in suburban London, casting long golden streaks across the polished oak floorboards. Dust motes drifted lazily in the quiet air, disturbed only by the soft, uneven breathing of a young woman bent over the floral print armrest of the sofa. Sarah, 20 years old, fair-skinned with shoulder-length blonde hair tucked behind her ears, wore her favorite navy blue cotton frock, knee-length, modest, with short sleeves and a simple Peter Pan collar. But right now, it did little to shield her from the consequences of her actions. Her hands gripped the edge of the cushion, knuckles white, as she braced herself. Behind her, her mother stood firm, birch hairbrush in hand, the same one that had sat in the hall drawer for years, reserved only for moments like this. Each measured swat landed with a sharp thwack against the seat of Sarah's dress. She flinched with every stroke, her breath catching in her throat. Tears welled in her eyes, not just from the sting, but from the crushing weight of her own foolishness. This wasn't just about a photo, it was about trust, respect, and the values her mother had tried to instill in her since childhood. And now, in this quiet, sunlit room, the reckoning had arrived. It had started that morning. Sarah sat cross-legged on her bed in her bedroom, posters of indie bands and vintage London skyline prints on the walls, scrolling through her phone with a smirk. During yesterday's university lecture, she'd snapped a candid photo of her literature professor, Dr. Bennett, mid-sentence, his brow furrowed in concentration. She'd cropped it dramatically, added a sarcastic caption, "When your 3-hour lecture still makes less sense than my coffee order hot beverage," and posted it to her public feed. Her friends had liked it instantly. Comments rolled in, "LOL, so true, Professor B's lost it, delete his tenure, not my Wi-Fi." Sarah laughed, feeling clever until the phone rang that afternoon. Her mother, Eleanor Whitmore, answered in the hallway, her voice calm at first. Then her expression shifted. She listened intently, nodding once, twice, then saying, "Thank you, Principal Hughes. Yes, I understand. We'll handle it immediately." When she hung up, her gaze fell on Sarah, who was sprawled on the sofa in her navy frock, scrolling again. "Sarah," Eleanor said, voice steady but firm. "Principal Hughes just called. You posted a photo of your professor without his consent and mocked him publicly. He's deeply offended. The university considers this a breach of professional respect and privacy." Sarah barely looked up. "It's just a joke, Mom. Everyone posts stuff like that." "This isn't everyone, Sarah. This is you. And in this house, we do not humiliate others for entertainment." "It's not humiliation. It's just," she waved her hand dismissively. "You wouldn't get it. You're not on social media." Eleanor's eyes narrowed. "I may not be on social media, but I know right from wrong. Delete the post. Now." Sarah sat up, crossing her arms. "Why? It's my account. My opinion." "Your opinion doesn't give you the right to disrespect someone who's dedicating his life to teaching you," Eleanor said, her voice low but edged with steel. "And you will not speak to me with that tone in my own home." But Sarah scoffed. "Oh, come off it, Mom. You're acting like I committed a crime. It's just a picture." "Just a picture?" Eleanor repeated, hurt flashing in her eyes. "Is that all integrity is to you now? Just a picture." Sarah rolled her eyes. "Honestly, you're so old-fashioned. No one cares about this stuff anymore." That was the final straw. Eleanor had always believed that boundaries, respect, and accountability were timeless, not outdated. And her daughter's casual cruelty, wrapped in modern apathy, had crossed a line. "Go stand by the sofa," she said quietly. "You know the rule." Sarah froze. Her face paled. "Mom, you're not serious." "I've never been more serious," Eleanor replied, already walking toward the hall drawer. "When you chose to disrespect both your teacher and me, you chose this." Sarah stood slowly, her navy frock brushing against the sofa as she walked to the center of the living room. The room felt heavier now, the ticking of the grandfather clock, the distant hum of a bus on the street outside, the scent of Earl Grey tea lingering from earlier. She placed her hands on the armrest, bent forward as instructed, her blonde hair falling like a curtain around her face. Eleanor returned with the wooden hairbrush, smooth, worn from years, but still solid. She stood behind her daughter, heart aching but resolve unwavering. "This is for posting that photo without consent," she said, delivering the first firm swat across the seat of Sarah's cotton frock. Sarah gasped, her body tensing. "Thwack, this is for mocking someone who's trying to educate you." Sarah bit her lip, tears already forming. "Thwack. This is for lying to yourself and to me about what's just a joke." Her knees trembled. "Thwack, this is for speaking to me like I'm irrelevant." A soft sob escaped her. "Thwack, this is for forgetting the values this family stands for." She was crying openly now, shoulders shaking. "Thwack, and this," Eleanor said, voice thick with emotion, "is because I love you enough to correct you when you go astray." Silence followed. Only Sarah's quiet weeping filled the room. Eleanor set the brush aside and placed a gentle hand on her daughter's back. "Stand up, love." Sarah straightened slowly, wiping her eyes with the sleeve of her frock. She didn't look up, but her defiance was gone, replaced by something raw and real. Later, alone in the living room, Sarah sat curled on the sofa, phone in hand. She opened her profile. The post was still there, 127 likes, 14 comments. She stared at it, not with pride, but with shame. She thought of Dr. Bennett, kind-eyed, always staying late to answer questions, once even lending her a rare poetry anthology from his personal collection. And she'd reduced him to a meme. Worse, she'd spoken to her mother, the woman who'd worked double shifts to pay for her education, as if her wisdom was obsolete. The sting on her backside had faded to a dull warmth, but the regret burned deeper. This wasn't about punishment, it was about consequence. And she'd earned every bit of it. With a deep breath, she deleted the post. Then she opened her email and began drafting a sincere apology to Dr. Bennett, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. That evening, rain began to patter against the window panes. Eleanor sat in her armchair, grading papers from her job as a secondary school English teacher. The house smelled of chamomile tea and damp wool from the day's laundry. Sarah entered quietly, holding 2 mugs. She placed one beside her mother's chair, steaming, with just a splash of milk, no sugar, exactly how Eleanor liked it. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. Eleanor looked up, meeting her daughter's eyes. In them, she saw humility, clarity, and the quiet return of the girl she'd raised. "Thank you, love," she said softly. Sarah nodded, then retreated to the sofa, tucking her feet beneath her. Outside, the lights of London glowed through the rain, a city of old brick and new screens, where some things like respect, honesty, and a mother's love never went out of style. And in that quiet, forgiving space, Sarah knew she'd carry this lesson far beyond the sting of a hairbrush.